Almost forgot about this event. It kind of snuck up on me, and I didn't even think about the pro circuit on the James River until I saw an Instagram post from Clark Ream getting his Dobbins rods together. But here we are, sneaking this video in just on the deadline. If you're watching this, you have until early Thursday morning to get your lineups in, so don't waste any time. As soon as you see this, set your lineups. Stop 5 of the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit brings us to the James River, in which the anglers, the field will be faced with a mostly post-spawn James River going into summertime patterns. But I think giants will still be caught. There will be some big ones caught. And I think this fishery overall will show out pretty strong. I think there'll be a lot of small limits, but there will be some anglers that crack the code on the better than average fish, setting up on, maybe some fry garters, maybe some current areas and things like that as they're leaving the bank. Most of them are wrapping up spawning. There'll be a few left probably, but I think the majority of the anglers will be in post-spawn patterns to flourish in this tournament. This is the second to last stop. After this, it's only the Champlain and then the title of the pro circuit. So anglers jockeying to get into the top of the field so they can qualify for that championship with just 2 events left, as well as Angler of the Year. Heading into the game, if you're not doing great, you can still play to win a combo for this event only. Leaders overall, I think I'm actually moving up a little bit here, within about 200 pounds of the leaders. So the Gunnersville event was pretty good for me. If you want to join the Beat HellaBass League and play for these Super K gift cards where you can get some free made in the USA, hand-tied, hand-poured, Wisconsin great swim jigs, then make sure you join the league. Link down in the description plus the code. Scott Pitlick still leading the charge. Donnie Davis, Scott Higgins, and a few others still hoping they have something to say for these Super K gift cards before the end of the year. If you don't think you can reel in Scott, or you just can't wait to get yourself some of these awesome swim jigs, then you can use the code on the screen right here and the link in the description to save 15% off and grab you some amazing jigs from Super K. Now let's get into the picks. Kind of building around my team with some experience and guys that do well on like the Mississippi, the Potomac. There's not a ton of data on the James River, so looking for people that are good with tidal fisheries, river fisheries, shallow fisheries. So we're going to start out with Jacopo Galeli. He's had some really great finishes on the Potomac. I think he's a good pick here. He's having a really strong season. Gray Buck, Ron Nelson, both familiar with those eastern tidal fisheries. I expect both of them to do really well. Tom Musur has won on the Mississippi and the Potomac, has had generally strong finishes on the Potomac. I think he'll be able to figure something out. Swim jigs should set up really well on the James River. And then lastly, Andrew Loberg, West Coast guy, Delta guy. He seems to just be catching them everywhere he goes. I think he'll figure something out. And then Tom Ponsua really seems like a gem on that below 40 cut line in Flight 1. Moving on to Flight 2, going with John Hunter. He's got some good experience here in the opens. Not super great finishes, but I think he's having a really good year, and that experience on the James is going to help him along, and I think he'll have a good finish here. Matt Becker generally does well on the Chesapeake and those eastern tidal fisheries. I think the James will suit him well. Justin Lucas just seems to catch him. He's fished all these types of tidal fisheries, whether it's on the Delta, the West Coast, or the Potomac, or the Chesapeake, things like that through his long career, so I expect him to do just fine at the James River. Kurt Mitchell has some experience on the James in like Toyotas or things like that in the past. I expect him to do just fine. And then Brett Height, he's kind of my below 40 dark horse. I think tidal, Delta, chatterbait, that's a winning combination. For the tiebreaker, the winning weight after the cut, remember, they zero the top 10 on the final day. I think it's going to be about 21.5 ounces. Somebody will bust a pretty good bag on the final day to take this home out of the top 10, especially when there's only 10 on the fishery and they can kind of spread out. I think that will lead to a big bag on the final day on Sunday. If you find fishing rivers a daunting task and that thing has always struggled you and you're wondering how these anglers are going to tackle the James River, check out this video on the screen here where I break down the river with a new angler and show you how it's done.